So this is part 2 of the video I did yesterday concerning things to watch out for before buying, or decisions you need to make, or choices you need to make, or what you need to know before you buy Peugeot vehicle converted for one part, for one engine, or one gearbox, or for one driving position to another. So there's this guy I met year 2000, I think year 2014. So he had a Peugeot 407 V6 automatics, and when I met him, the engine was having issues, the electricals as well. But the most important thing was the electrical, not necessarily the engine. So when I diagnosed the vehicle, I realized that the electrical was not making the engine to work properly. So eventually it all led to that the ECU was already partly damaged, even though it was still running the engine. But then we checked the engine wiring harness, there was nothing wrong with it. So then the problem was elsewhere. So to deal with that, from what I gathered, the history behind the car, he now told me that he had been moving from one workshop to another, and then eventually he decided to bring it to me. So the point that he has actually changed the engine ECU, like, I don't know, maybe once or twice. So eventually I told him there's nothing you can do. The issue on the car at that time we bought the car was still the ECU. The engine ECU was not running the engine properly, so then he had to get another one. Eventually he got another ECU, but I think he had to, because at the time the car was with me, he couldn't get the ECU. So eventually I asked him to come and take the car. So I think the technician, another workshop now told him that they can be able to get it for him, another technician, another workshop. So eventually took the car there and they got another ECU. That time, that was, like I said, it was around 2014 or 2015 or 2013, something like that. So at that time, the 407 V6 ECU was around 170,000. In fact, they had to order it from Lagos. That's the exact amount I remember correctly. He told me he got the ECU. So on mounting the ECU, swapping it in, started the vehicle, it started working well. Engine started working well. According to him, I was not there. Everything started working well. While the engine was idle, they had to start it to let it run to see how everything was working. I think within less than 3 minutes or 5 minutes or thereabout, they saw smoke coming out from the ECU, the newly installed ECU. Because they got a complete kit, the BSI, the ECU, and the key. It was a used part, So, boom. The smoke started coming out from the engine ECU. They shut down the car and tried to find out what happened. Eventually they started the car again, and I can't remember exactly. It's as if this old issue went back. It started doing exactly what the other ECU was doing, or probably worse, or maybe the ECU even refused to start the engine again. Can't remember. So eventually the car was abandoned, because it means it's no longer an ECU thing, and the engine wiring harness was already checked and confirmed in good condition. So what then was the issue? Now, why am I saying this story, or sharing this story? This car was converted from right-hand drive to left-hand drive. So it means the conversion was, the issue has to be with when the conversion was done, because anyway, I don't know whether it was when the conversion, but nobody could trace or find out what was making the ECU to blow up or damaging the ECU. It was obviously not the engine wiring harness. So it means probably at the time of converting the car from right-hand drive to left-hand drive, we did one kind of horrible connection, or maybe it wasn't a connection, wire started touching where it wasn't supposed to touch. or maybe it was not properly relocated, so it's not touching somewhere and it has already peeled off. Maybe the positive is not touching negative somewhere on the part of the car, so it keep burning the engine ECU. So because of that, the car was now abandoned. Look at it from 2013 or 2014 till today. Earlier this year, was it late last year or so, the owner called me again, to come and look at the car to see if there's a chance of reviving it or getting it back. So I now told him, see, don't even bother, don't even think about it. Is it the same car that's almost send you to your grave? It's wasting so much money. How many ECU have you changed? I want to go back to this. So I advise him, don't even think about it, forget it. If I were you, scrap, because the car has been burned down somewhere, rusting away. I mean, can't even. So I said, just forget it. It's a goner. So now there's another 407 that we are working on, which is much better. At least not because it's factory left-hand drive, but at least the electricals are intact, body intact, interior intact. So the only thing now is the engine that we are sorting out now, which he has given me the task to sort out. So the other one, like I said, I told you, don't even bother, forget about that car. If I were you, I wouldn't have left it, I would have scrapped it, because if you are going back to that emotional torture to go. So my point of doing this video is, just because you go when you see a car converted from one engine to from V6 engine to EW10, from EW10 to TU5 JP4, from right-hand drive to left-hand drive, from automatic to manual transmission. I could go on and on. Once any major part of a vehicle is being converted or modified, just because at that time you are you wanted to buy the car, you go there, look at it. Maybe you went with a local mechanic, you started the engine, it sounded well, you moved it, automatic gearbox selected well, or the manual gearbox behaved well, or that doesn't mean all is well with that car, or that the conversion was properly done, or the modification was properly done. There is always that risk. There's always that risk that something was not done properly, and 2 weeks, months, or even hours later it will pop up, or even right there. So my point is, who did you go with to actually confirm, at least to a large extent, that at least the conversion, the modification was done in a proper way? Did you go with a local mechanic that probably can't tell the difference between one electronic module to the other? Because that's what most people do. Although they just go with just a local mechanic who are mechanically very sound. But now you want the mechanic to be able to tell you a condition of a car that is almost 80% electrically controlled. You want him to be able to tell you everything is okay with the car. Really, how serious are you to even think about it? Someone you know that his capability is limited on the mechanicals. Not that is, something wrong with that. That everybody has his own area of specialty. You want that person to be able to tell you what? When you decide to go with your friend because your friend has been driving cars for the past 30 years, 40, 50 years, and suddenly it makes your friend becomes an expert on a modern automobile vehicle that is 80 to 90% electrically controlled. What makes you think that gearbox they converted from automatic to manual, that every part of the modules on that car accepted that conversion? What makes you think the programming or the electrical part, because as you're converting automatic to manual, as far as a modern vehicle, the electrical has to be modified as well. Otherwise, some modules on that car will not accept the conversion. And eventually it will tell on the vehicle. It may start that they move it 500 kilometers and 1,000 kilometers and the ECU will shut down. Or one part of those electrical modules that works with the gearbox will start misbehaving. which will now eventually make the car undrivable. Or probably the CV joint is bad, or the one they use will keep damaging, and that could go on and on. So how did you confirm? Or just because you are taking the word of the vehicle seller that everything was done properly? Because if in front of you, it could start and move. How technical is that the vehicle seller to know how the conversion was done? Was it the technician that did the work? If you are discussing with the technician, did you find out as you interact with the person how sound the person is, his capability in doing the work the proper way? These are the things you are supposed to check. Don't be so blind and foolish just because maybe the car is cheap, or just because it has that engine everybody is praising. Or because I could go on and on and on. So I want people to actually start taking responsibility. It's always the core of most of my videos. Take responsibility of yourself for things you want to spend your money on, and start being so blindly and foolishly sometimes, people find it threatening when you try to tell them to think for themselves. They find it so threatening because probably all their life other people have been thinking for them. They just follow the crowd. No, the crowd must be right. The majority is always right. So wherever they go, will go. So when you try to inspire them to think for themselves, it becomes like a threat to them. Because the mechanic says the car is good, or any car that has this engine, everything must be okay. Or every car that has this gearbox, everything must be okay. Once it doesn't matter, once the car can start and move, it means the right-hand drive to left-hand drive conversion was done properly. Is that how So take some responsibility. Make sure you do a thorough investigation or assessment of any vehicle, a Peugeot vehicle, especially the modern one, even the older ones, that the modification, the conversion was properly done. That is, if you are even aware that something like that has happened to the vehicle, because most times people don't even know the difference. All they know is once they open the engine and see like EW10 J4 engine, it means that's probably what the car was sold with from brand new. Without even knowing that it's even very obvious by mere looking at the car that this car originally didn't come with this engine or this gearbox, or wasn't originally in the left-hand drive vehicle. These are things you're supposed to know. Like I said earlier, I will buy one if I see one I like, that the conversion was properly done. Even not properly done, I look at it and say, okay, I can afford to reverse this conversion properly. However long it takes, whatever it will cost me, I can afford to do it because I know I can do it myself. Or at least I can gather a team I can instruct on what to do to put it back how it should be. Can you? Because that's where the problem is. You spend $1 million, $2 million, $3 million buying, only to realize that you are going to spend more than what you purchased to get the car back to this thing. Can you do that? If I can you? What makes you think you can get someone that your local mechanic you rely on can be able to do that? Can you afford people like me to be able to sit down, do a thorough research, look at it electrically, mechanically, every angle to tell you it will cost you this amount and it will take so and so time or beyond that to get this car right? Can you have that patience, the time, the money to wait until that is sorted out? Do you have such technicians like us in your environment? These are the questions you're supposed to ask yourself. So I share this story because I even know the person that had this story, that the particular person that had this issue with his car, that shared this story, also follows me online. So I believe he's going to watch this video. So of course it's not about him, but I'm using his pain, his past pain anyway. It's already gone. I'm using that to actually also educate and advise people. You could enter into that same pain if you are not careful, if you are being so blind and foolish to just take the word of a vehicle part seller that everything is all right, or a word of a local mechanic that everything is all right. Especially when you know for a fact. It's a different thing, probably you didn't even know. Even see, I'll still blame you, because if you know you can't dictate the difference between a car modified or converted from one engine to a different engine model, one gearbox to a different gearbox model, from right-hand drive to left-hand drive. If you know you can't detect those things, so why did you go and buy it yourself? Why didn't you go with someone competent enough to tell you? But if you're okay, it may be because you prefer such modified vehicle, because maybe they are cheaper, or you just don't care, you like it. Do you have that capability to be able to check all those things? Or even if you don't care whether they will have some of those things, are you willing to deal with the mental torture or emotional torture and financial drain that may come with it down the line? Are you willing to do that? If you are not, there are other options. Go for the factory one that still have the stock engine, the one they put from brand new. I'm not saying it must be that same engine, but at least it's the same engine model that the car was produced with, designed with the same electrical, same thing with the same gearbox, same thing with the same driving position. Those are the things you should be able to know and make a decision, or else otherwise you could be among the ones that, after spending such a huge amount of money and everything, you end up scrapping the car with as penny. I can do that. Can you? You have to be that's why I say be logical in everything you do. Just because I'm doing it, I can afford to do it, doesn't mean you can. I have my own priorities. Is your own priority like mine? Maybe yours, you have responsibilities, you have family, you have children, you have to take care of their education, this and that, provide for their future and the rest. I don't have that kind of responsibility. So can you financially do what I do on vehicles? You have to, like I say, be logical with yourself. Stop being a man. Stand on your own feet. Stop looking at left and right who will tell you what to do in your life. Seek advice just for you to make a decision on areas you don't know. Not necessarily everything in your life. It has to be somebody that will, come on. Go back to your mother's womb if you are not yet ready to live in this physical life. So be wise. All right.